What's up, boys? We're back with some more Tower of Babel. I found a pretty strong ring, lots of evasion, increases my damage a little whenever we evade by reducing cooldowns. We can take Chain Lightning now since it has a chance of splits. We get crit chance and damage if I don't use my basic attack. Blizzard has a chance to fire some ice shards, fire skills can heal me a bunch, and Ice Spike has a chance to bounce to another target. So we're kind of looking for a few different ice or lightning skills, and then a bunch of extra fire skills for some healing, and then I'm also looking to grab the evasion thing for some extra survivability and cooldown reduction. This level seems pretty insane and nearly impossible so far. Once you get to around 10 minutes, you'll just get completely overwhelmed, and there will be a bunch of enemies who will one-shot you in a fairly large radius, so I haven't really gotten past that yet, but I've been farming a bit to see if I can figure anything out, but I'm still working on it so far. So there's these detonators on this level that will charge at you in a moderate range, and then they'll also explode in a moderate range, and it typically does about half of your HP, but there are some instances where like an elite enemy can spawn as one of the detonators, so that can just straight up one-shot you. XP gain early on, we will bless crit chance because of the mod on the staff, so that'll be a good damage stat later on. And then we'll probably grab dodge as well to try and get my survivability up to a level where I can avoid all of the unavoidable one-shots maybe. And some crit damage to go with that, maybe projectiles, not really sure. Just some pretty strong passives. I think I'm fine with Swamp of the Dead. You can have a bunch of areas from that around and it slows down enemies a bit. One thing I've noticed is that as I get later into the game, the sheer number of numbers that you have popping up on enemies just completely blocks all vision. Do I want to take magic item finds? It's kind of greedy, but 50%, I really could use some good items from here, I guess. Seems like one of the biggest things to get further. I think we're actually going to reroll. These are all pretty underwhelming for my current builds. And I think you can actually only have 6 different skills. Okay, so I actually want both of these. I think we'll lock in Phoenix. That one just constantly hits stuff all over the screen with fire damage, so it's a pretty nice combo with the chest piece. Obviously we have the Ice Spike combo as well, but I think we'll ban the attack since we won't be using that later on, and then I guess we'll take some early pickup radius to go with that XP. Critical hit damage and projectile, those are both very good for me. I guess we will probably bless projectile counts and take that here. So we kind of have a mix of those. Projectile counts will improve my healing by making the fire skills hit a bit more. And then the crit stuff are obviously very good with the legendary mod on the staff. So we'll probably want some of both of those. Fire Orb is just not that great. I guess we'll take some survivability here and hope I can avoid the eventual one-shots. I haven't really been able to scale my damage even close enough to the point where I could kill everything, so I don't think that seems realistic. Blood Whirlwind, 2 points. Yeah, we can get some extra healing there. That one has built-in healing when it hits stuff, so you don't even need a mod for it. We should probably turn auto attack off now. We've got a few skills going. We can take range here. Heaven's Judgment isn't the greatest, and I don't really have any synergy with it. It does look cool though. But it seems like you can actually only get 6 different skills. I never noticed that before because for some reason it just shows you an insane number of slots and it doesn't really mention anything about that as far as I can tell. But if you look at the damage breakdown at the end of the run, you always only have 6 skills there, so that does seem to be the case. Crit chance, yep. I actually found a unique jewel that sounds pretty cool. It's like a chance to reset lightning skills when you use your basic attack or special attack, which unfortunately I don't think I can really work into my current builds. Let's probably take the evade now, since we don't use basic attacks with this and special attacks don't really do a whole lot. Okay, I like Dragon's Breath. Very fast hitting fire attack to go with the chest piece. But if I could find a lightning version of that chest, it would be extremely cool, so I'm hoping we can get that at some point. Double evade, probably need that to survive the late game. Lightning Strike, I do like that because it's a critical hit and it stuns enemies. I don't even know how many skills I have left. I guess we'll take it. I think we're around 4, so actually might be 5. 2 levels of the Blood Whirlwinds. But yeah, you can see with the Grasp and the Flamethrower, it's already very hard to see anything under them, and it's going to get a lot sillier in the late game now. Life regen is kind of helpful. I think I might just reroll this, see if we can find something better. Okay, we'll go for the early XP gain. I don't want Fire Orb, it's just not very good. If we could get the Meteor Shower skill, that's a very good fire one. I guess we don't have a ton of ice, and we do have the chaining effect for that, so that's fine. So we have the Grasp and the Ice Spikes both slowing them down a bit. I guess we'll take the big projectile count there. And then we'll probably take Dragon's Breath if they're close in levels. Two on Phoenix. So yeah, I'm going to be dying a lot on this level as we get towards the end though. I'll probably grab some casting speed here to get the skills out more. I haven't even gotten all that close to the boss yet, I just keep dying around the 10-minute mark or so, when you just get absolutely surrounded and there's a ton of one-shot enemies there. So still trying to work that part out. Yeah, I can't see anything under those numbers, it gets really silly now. 2 Ice Spike or Lightning Strike. Probably go for the one we have a legendary for. But yeah, with the 25% evasion from the ring, it's actually a very strong defensive stat. Gives you some okay survivability as well. Probably take the global upgrade between those two. Between those two, I think the healing. There's just such an insane number of unavoidable attacks on this round that I've seen so far. So, the more healing, the better, I feel like. Critical hit damage. Two Phoenix or Dragon's Breath. Or 3 on Swamp. I'm probably leaning towards the fire stuff for the extra healing. Dragon's Breath here. Might just have to go with the Brawler class since their special ability gives you some temporary iframes, I believe, on his dash. But I've just invested so much into the wizard, and for some reason the meta progression seems to be almost entirely character specific. So it's very hard to switch classes in this game, which I don't really like. But it's certainly a choice you can go for. Piercing's actually not bad either, since that does seem to be a stat on the Phoenixes. Won't work on the lightning thing or the Inferno, so there is a lot it doesn't work on. Won't work on the grass. Yeah, I guess it'd probably just be the Phoenixes then. And the ice spikes maybe? There's really not an option to turn damage numbers off in this. That is absolutely insane to me. That's like one of the most basic things in these as you get later into the game. Projectile count, that'll probably give me the most hits here. I probably will actually want to take some of those later on when we get to the one-shot parts, if I see any around then. Let's go... Actually, I think that does work on a decent amount of stuff here. Yeah, alright, we'll take the 2 levels there. Blood whirlwinds. That is pretty good, but 35% projectile counts. Bro, that is so many numbers! Phoenix or evasion. I think I'm gonna try pumping up the evasion super hard here. I've done plenty of maxed damage runs and they haven't worked out, so let's try a little bit onto the survivability side. With the ring it gives me damage anyway, so it's not like I'm completely giving it up. I guess some piercing here. Mainly just for the Phoenix then. So movement speed is completely useless at the point of the run where I keep wiping to, so we'll probably just take the lightning strike here. There's so many enemies that spawn around you that you can't move anyways without running into them, so I just don't think it does anything there. Which I also think is kind of stupid. The other fire skill we didn't see on this run, the meteor, is actually extremely good when you get to the late game as well. You can get a bunch of fire damaging areas all over the ground with it. So we might actually need that one for the heavy fire builds to function. We're getting close to the point, Blood Whirlwind over XP. So these are the exploder guys. This is actually a pretty dangerous wave when you just constantly get them from one side and then they're also spawning in on the other side as well. And I actually had one run earlier where I had an elite one of those guys, and he just constantly charged at me with no cooldown until it eventually hit me. And then he one-shot me because they got a damage boost by being an elite as well, apparently. So that run ended pretty quickly. Yeah, we're getting close to the point where you can't move anymore, and then there should be some exploders spawning, and then they'll just run in and one-shot you when you can't move anywhere. And that's what I'm trying to figure out how to beat currently. Okay, we've got some of them spawning. Looks like only a few currently, though. Probably Ice Spike for the slowing effects. Jesus, man. The sheer number of unavoidable hits is just so insane at this part. Oh god, an elite exploder. I'm dead if he even comes close to me. Did I jinx myself? Let's get, I guess, more evasion. if I get in range for the Dragon's Breath, then he'll be very close to being able to charge me. And then I'm just dead. Projectile count, yeah. Maybe the very max range on the Dragon's Breath. Then we can slowly whittle him down. But if he gets into charge range, then I am donezo. More blood whirlwinds. I think this is the furthest I've made it so far in this level. Seems like the enemy spawns were actually a bit different than everything I've seen so far. We had a lot less detonators on this run, but we had an elite one instead who I haven't seen in quite a while. Did he give up? Or did he detonate on something? Probably still gonna die soon. Oh, this looks like where it was actually. We'll take Lightning Strike for more stunning then. Yeah, there's so many detonators here, there's no possible way you can avoid them all, so you have to get like lucky with the fades, I guess. And you literally can't see anything with all the numbers on the screen on top of that. I can't see anything, man. This makes no sense. So yeah, you can have 6 skills, and I think we might need the meteor shower for leaving a bunch of fire areas on the ground. So Phoenix is pretty good at only level 6. I guess Dragon's Breath might not be the best, but it does trigger a ton of hits for the healing. But we'll do some more runs. The Mimics are super helpful since they seem to have a guaranteed legendary each time. Kind of hard to find good rare equipment because they're missing an entire really strong mod each time. Oh, you can get a legendary in here. That's the first time I've seen that. So that would give a lot of armor. We would be very slow. I guess that's fine since there's so many enemies you can't really move through them anyways. How much is that? 7,000 almost? I might buy that. Not 100% sure. Should be pretty good survivability. And I'm kind of at the point where I can't really scale up that much with gold. I'm just trying to get my survivability up a bit, so we can tank that wave since there's so many who certainly can't kill them all. So we'll turn auto attack on for a little bit. definitely banish that and attack-based stuff, and then that doesn't really make a huge difference. Probably reroll that. None of these really helps a ton at the end. I guess we can just banish movement speed as well. I guess. Well, those are all good. I guess we'll try an offensive build this time to show you how that works out. So we can bless both of those and probably take projectile counts. So we'll also bless crit damage and go for a max damage projectile build here. Hopefully we'll get the meteor skill. We'll bless that as well. So 3 strong damaging abilities, or passives I mean. But this will likely go even worse despite slightly more meta progression. Sphere of Light is just not very good from what I've seen so far. Corpse Explosion, that might actually be decent with the sheer number of enemies there. I believe there's actually a unique, or legendary I mean, for Corpse Explosion that causes the explosion to also spread between enemies. I think I saw that on the trailer or something, but that would be really cool to try at some point if I could find it. Crit damage. Ice Orb and Dragon's Breath. That's a pretty good freezing skill, which I think you always want one of, and we could wait a bit on that. 2 on Corpse Explosion, yep. Projectile counts again. It's just so hard to find the good skills right now with the insane number of skills overall and such a limited number of banishes and rerolls and all. We don't have any banishes left for that, so it would have to be that or rerolling. I'll probably just reroll. Special attack, it's not very good. Unless you get a lot of mana regen as well. I just don't think that's going to make much of a difference on the wave that I'm dying on here, so projectile count it is. Like, it would help me right now, but it won't help me beat the level, if that makes sense. Because there's just such an insane number of enemies there, you can't really use it that much on them. Double life regen, I guess. really need some skills to go with that. It's a lot of projectile count, though. Like, if we could get the meteor skill, I think this might actually be a decent run now. But we have basically one damage skill right now that I'm using mainly for the utility. None of these really do a whole lot with the build here. Fire Orb is terrible, Dragon's Breath it is. And then we can probably turn that off. There are actually multiple different legendary effects for Fire Orb. I think I've seen rotation speed and rotation distance for it. I'll take the crit chance here. So it might be possible to make it decent with all of that. I'm not confident it would be though. Ice Spike for the chaining effect. I actually had to take something here anyways. I think Ice Orb might be better even with the upgrade for that. It's just constantly hitting in basically every direction. Nice crit damage. I think I'm gonna pass for now and hope we find the meteor thing still. Oh yeah, I should use that identify on the legendary we got here as well. Kind of forget about that since that's a pretty weird mechanic. Spinning blades. Lose some armor, gain not a ton. I don't think that really does a lot for me. XP. Oh, there's just so many enemies, range. Phoenix reduce damage here? We have enough ice skills already. Please, I need meteors. Phoenix, 3 levels, I'll take it, I guess. I'm actually not sure what exactly piercing on the Phoenix does, because it seems to trigger an explosion when it goes in. So is it hitting like one extra target, or is it like multiplying the total damage for each one? Because that would be kind of crazy, so we unfortunately have to take one of these. Magic Hammer is kind of bad. I guess we'll try the knockback thing. I can't imagine that's going to make a difference on the unbeatable wave, but I'll give it a shot. Big corpse explosion, that's actually pretty cool. Let's go projectile counts. That gives damage and healing with more fire skills flying everywhere. Range is the only thing that really helps me here. I guess we can check that still. Frost Arrow, 1 minimum piercing. That is terrible. Wow. Why is that even a legendary mod? Let's go Corpse Explosion. Two Phoenix or Sanctuary. We'll go for the fire skill. Nice crit damage. Cast speed is decent. Do I just try pumping the corpse explosion and seeing how that does here? I guess. There's so much stuff, I can't even avoid it now, man. It just doesn't make any sense. So, corpse explosion definitely doesn't seem to be the play. We need the meteor skill, it feels like. This level just makes zero freaking sense from a design standpoint. We can maybe use that with a physical build. I can't imagine that would be very useful, but I'll keep it just in case. I am 52 gold off there. Because we got even unluckier and made it barely anywhere into the level. Bless that. And that. Probably just grab that. Ban attack speeds and probably reroll that. I'll probably go... Well, we made it a lot further with the evasion. I guess I should probably bless that again. Then probably just grab the crit damage here. Meteor, thank God. So it starts off fairly weak with just one meteor, but it leaves a fire zone on the ground that does constant ticking fire damage for a bit. And at certain levels it'll get plus 50% projectiles, so later on it can leave a ton of meteors. And I guess we'll probably want that here. Frost Hero. Nah, we can do better than that with ice skills. I guess range here? Duration, that should work on the meteors. On their fire zone. Nope. I guess auto pickup. think I'm fine with Ice Orb. Frost Arrow, I don't think so. We can ban that and then take the 2 XP, I think. We need to scale the meteors up as much as possible, and maybe Phoenix as well, I think is probably the second best fire skill. Attack power is pretty good. Ball lightning is also not great, so cast speed it is. I did get a legendary that makes ball lightning seek out enemies, which might make it better. I haven't actually tested that at all yet, though. The chest piece that makes your fire skills heal just seems really strong, and I don't really have many versions of that yet. I do have something for Blizzard. We do already have a good ice skill, so probably just take the attack power for now. Meteor, yeah. Purge is actually pretty good single target. I just don't really have anything for it, so range it is. I think if there's a holy version of the chest, then that would actually be really good with Purge and the Fist of the Heavens thing. But I haven't seen that yet. I've only seen the physical and fire versions of it, so I'm not even sure if there are any of the other elements. Duration's fine. Ooh, big projectile. You're out of blesses, so I can't do the crit chance. Phoenix, we can lock that in. And we already have a bunch of extra passive projectiles to scale that up a bit. Oh, I can turn the auto attack off now. I do like Lightning Strike for the stunning. Probably XP here. Another Phoenix or Duration to really maximize the meteors. Do we have anything else that goes with that? I guess the orbs might. It doesn't look like it. So I think it would just be the meteors. Guess we'll probably just take that then. Projectile count, yup. More projectiles. This is probably better damage at this point, but that should be more healing and AoE coverage. And it will also improve my crowd control with the lightning strike and the freezing effects. I think we just take the meteor level here. That was pretty unimpressive last time. Even even though we got it early and got huge levels on it. Ooh, that's kind of rough. Probably take the cast speed or evade. Kind of does the same thing actually. They both give me more spells out, and that does survivability at the same time. Phoenix or duration, we'll do that again. That's rough. I guess we reroll that. Lightning strike. Could take ice spike. Probably not really necessary with the number of extra projectiles I have. Two levels, yup. Another meteor. Two on duration, I think I'm fine with that. So early XP or more evasion. We already have a pretty good amount of that, and the more you get, the worse it becomes, whereas the more evasion you get, the better it becomes. There's nowhere to move. I guess probably Corpse Explosion for the extra AoE. Fire Orb is just so bad. Spear of Light is pretty underwhelming. Maybe Corpse Explosion will be good with all the projectiles we have. Double Phoenix, yup. These are not great. I guess Swamp is decent. Is there anything I really want for the last one? I don't know. Swamp is fine. We actually already have 5 of those for projectiles, so that is pretty cool. guess it does fit pretty nicely with the meteor's extra duration and projectile stuff. Cast speed or projectiles. That'll probably do more with how high level that is already. It's just not that useful of a stat, and we're gonna need some power here as we get to the very hard ways. Meteor, yup. 50% projectile count, that's a huge level up. On Ice Orb, sure. Meteor or 2, yeah, that's pretty good. On Ice Orb. I'm an actual frozen orb now. Oh god, the detonators. Movement just doesn't do a whole lot. Phoenix is decent. God, there are so many numbers on the screen. out of the meteor. Nice evade. Meteor, yup. Another meteor. Crit damage should be the biggest here. And we're dead, it looks like. There's so many detonators I can't even move. It doesn't make any sense. Almost 2 million on the meteor, so that definitely seems like the play. That and Phoenix are pretty good. Both apply plenty of hits for the healing on the chest. Definitely wants at least one Ice Skill and Thunder Strike, I think, for some crowd control. Don't know if we need those two, but we can get the chest or the helmet now, I think. Since you literally can't move around, movement speed shouldn't really matter, and I think that maxes out physical reduction. For not using Blizzard, I guess that does have some regen and a bless though, which is kind of nice. I should keep that hat just in case I end up not liking this. Oh, we can spend that now as well. But you just can't really get enough gold to make much of a difference. So we have 75% physical reduction, so I suppose it comes down to whether or not it works on the detonators. Could be either physical or fire. I'd guess probably fire. In which case, you're probably just dead with no chance anyways. Range is decent. Should I just take the item find to try and find far more legendaries? Nah, I want to beat the level. I feel like that was actually a pretty strong build though. We had so much extra projectiles with pretty high level meteor. And I still had zero chance with absolutely nothing I could do against the huge detonator wave. Well, I got the meteor early. More projectiles. It'll work on the phoenixes if we get those. I guess I'll grab some. It might make it easier to freeze a lot of enemies, since that works on all the best freezing stuff, I think. Ice spike, sure. You can probably turn auto off with 2 good skills now. Blood for some extra healing. On meteor. Some early XP. Do the chain lightning thing. I guess we could try that out some. Damage, movement just doesn't really do a whole lot. We could probably banish that. grab Swamp. Do mimics not change at all with the wave? Because that guy is insanely tanky, my god. Duration is okay, I guess. Do a bit more early XP. We definitely need to be as strong as possible for that one crazy wave. Another XP? I think we'll probably take the whirlwinds. I really don't care for any of those here. Nice cast speeds. Chain lightning or blizzards? Probably take the 2 for that. Oh, I should really try and get Phoenix as my last skill if I can. Or I suppose Lightning Strike. Let's see, 3 on that. Is that going to be worth it? Maybe. It is pretty early still. I guess we can get a bit of that. I'd kind of like to save the rerolls for when we're forced into like 3 complete garbage things. Ice Spike, yeah. Double evade is not bad. Double blizzard is okay. Phoenix would be way better if we can. Cast speeds. Good crit damage. on Ice Spike. Triple magic item finds. Yeah, I guess we'll take it. Double chain lightning? Sure. I think that's going to help a lot here. Phoenix would be way better. That's not going to do a lot of level 3. Big crit damage, that's nice. Attack power is not bad. Decent XP, I guess we'll try it. These are terrible. Nice cast speed, okay. Reduced damage, it is. I mean, if the detonators are physical, we might have a chance now. That's just not gonna do a whole lot, so I guess we'll get this ready for the unbeatable wave then. Won't do much for quite a while though. Ice Spike. Chain Lightning or Evade. I feel like I did the best on the super high evasion wave. the teleporting randomly around the screen thing an elite mod or something? Because that's actually pretty annoying with the insane ice shards. Projectile counts. So reduced damage would have to be the choice here, I guess. Lightning is pretty weak as well, so I guess Ice Orb it is. And with that, we are probably dead with no Phoenix. Projectile counts. Meteor. Pump up the evades. Can I see how much of that I have here? %. That doesn't sound correct. I don't know how like 30 and 25 would go together to make 29. Whirlwind, I suppose. Nice Caspian. I guess range to buff up the other things. Probably not getting the swamp up to a decent level at this point. Two on Whirlwind. On Chain Lightning, not bad. So we must be at like 400% crit damage now. That'll probably be a little bit better here. Duration. Nice crit chance. Okay, that's a big boost. To grab this quickly because we're almost at the wave that's a guaranteed death as well. Nice ice spike. Yeah, we'll take that. It would have to be swamp here. Ooh, magnets. That's about the best value we're going to get out of that. Reduce damage or some decent damage upgrades. I don't think either of these will make a difference. I guess we'll take the 2 levels there. Survive the one-shots for slightly longer. Nice ice spike. I literally can't even tell where these guys are spawning now because they spawn inside of my damage graphics. 3 on meteor strike's pretty nice. I can't see where anything is, man. Meteor strike. Okay, I think they are physical damage. That didn't do that much to me. What is that sound? Meteor +3, absolutely. I guess so. I can't see anything with all of these damage numbers, man. What is this? I think probably projectile count. That works on 6 different skills. Like, obviously I want both, and I wish there was a lockdown. Oh, I can do that as well. Movement speed and evasion chance. We are using Chain Lightning here, though. What are the basic stats on it? Like, cover life on kill. That healing might actually come in handy here. I guess I'll try it. Oh, you can only do that once per level up? That is weird. can't see anything. I have too many damage numbers. I might actually want that just to maximize my survivability here, since we are taking some detonators that I can't see at all with the insane number of numbers. Projectile, probably. Oh, right, I can do that. Earth Spike individual hits reduces cooldown. That won't do anything. And we definitely can't replace the evasion ring. Two on chain lightning. Oh, it's like a bullet hell that leaves puddles where they land as well, okay. And then she spawns detonators, are you serious? I can't see anything. Please, evasion! We did it, I think? I had to get very lucky. But I somehow did it. That level is definitely not balanced, but apparently Ice Spike is pretty crazy with the chains and chain lightning, huh? With the boots we replaced right at the end. I definitely like Meteor with a healing chest, but we definitely need to find like a light or cold version of it to go with some of the other skills then it looks like. That's actually pretty good for a level 2 skill that I was mainly using for the slow as well. And we got a bunch of legendaries off of that. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I'm guessing it can potentially hit multiple times now with that. That was kind of cool. Guess we didn't really end up needing the other one, but it could have come in handy. Ice orb. Oh, that sounds interesting. So that literally turns it into a freezing orb then. I definitely want to try that at some point. Blizzard occurs on a random enemy. Oh, instead of a random spot. That doesn't really seem like that much of an improvement. Oh, we got the light one on the helmet. So what light skills are good? Purge is really good against elites. Divine Judgment is okay for AoE. Spear is pretty bad. I haven't done a ton of testing on Sanctuary yet. Haven't really seen that at super high level. Kinda wish it was lightning instead of light, but we can maybe try that out at some point. But that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.